Breaking story. Disappearance of the Linda. Gone without a trace. Where could it be? Yesterday afternoon, the airliner Linda vanished over East Bose airspace while en route to Roland. An exhaustive overnight search conducted by the Royal Army yielded no clues to its whereabouts, leaving all parties baffled. In a response to this incident, the Army has declared all airliner flights cancelled until further notice. Fate of Linda passengers unknown. The Liberal Orbital Ship Corporation reports that 17 were aboard the Linda at the time of its departure, including both passengers and crew. Family members of these missing persons are understandably concerned, but remain hopeful. Probability of accident is low, says expert. Central Factory Chief Murdoch proclaims, "Our orbital engines are sturdy and reliable. The chance of an engine failure is virtually nil. I do not believe an accident to have occurred." Rumors and theories abound. Was it a conspiracy perpetrated by the Royal Army and the covert mercenary force comprised of Jaegers? Perhaps it was a plot to kidnap the passengers and hold them for ransom. Some have even suggested that the Linda came under attack by the last living ancient dragon. No matter what anyone may have heard, it's all just speculation at this point, as no real evidence has yet been found. The Royal Army is investigating a possible connection between this incident and the recent burglaries in Bose. But thus far, no information or any such connection has been released. In fact, no information has been released at all due to Army regulations prohibiting the dissemination of intelligence to the general public, a policy that I'm sure we'd all like to see repealed. In society, crystals stolen and daring robbery. A group of unknown individuals recently broke into the Roland mayor's house to steal a septium crystal that was left in his possession. Local bracers came to the rescue and managed to recover the stolen item, but the culprits are still at large. Thankfully, no harm came to the mayor or his family during this incident. "We deeply regret that the criminals escaped," says a Roland Bracer representative. "But please note that we of the Bracer Guild did everything in our power to apprehend them and will continue the pursuit for however long it may take." In culture, touring ancient sites, the Roland region and the Esmalas Tower. The Esmalas Tower lies a few hundred selkun to the north of Roland City, along the Malga Trail. Its turquoise-green visage is the only real landmark for as far as the eye can see. Counting as one of the 4 tetracyllic towers, its purpose is still shrouded in mystery to this day. This exciting location is as old as Liberal itself, and modern research utilizing the latest orbital technology is expected to answer a few questions about this eerie structure, while posing still others. That's issue 2 of the Liberal News. We're Hella Alone, and welcome back to our Let's Play.
Today we're going to be following up on some side quest stuff that we've been doing.
Yeah. And then we'll head out for Bose, so we don't have much to do left in Roland.
We need to go to Father Divine in the chapel.
And we need to also turn in a quest for him.
Oh yeah, that's true. This will actually be really quick. Because the quest that we have to do for the letter is due in Bose.
Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone. Are you going on a journey somewhere?
Yep, just over to Bose, but before we left there was something we wanted to give you.
To me? This is the bear claw and savory pinion you were looking for. Please use them as medicinal ingredients. You requested these to the guild, right? That's right, I did put in a request. I'm just surprised that you went to all the trouble to do this for me. My thanks to the both of you, Estella and Joshua. It appears that you're both doing a wonderful job. This is encouraging to know.
We'll try to do our best.
With that attitude, I have nothing to worry about. Make sure to act with caution wherever your travels take you. I pray that the goddess will guide you on your journey. By the way, you said you were headed to Bose, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then in that case, could I ask a favor of you? I had wanted to send Father Holstein a letter, but the airliners are grounded. So how about it? Can I get you to deliver this letter while you're there in Bose?
Sure, we'll do it.
It shouldn't be a problem since a letter is not that big to begin with.
I really appreciate this. Alright then, here you are. So all we need to do is give this letter to Father Holstein in Bose, right? Yes, the chapel is on the east side of Bose City, so it should be fairly easy to locate. Traveling around other regions and broadening your knowledge is food for the mind. I pray that the goddess will guide you on your journey. So let's just run that one. For the last time, let's run that quest in the Bracer Guild and roll it.
Ooh, that took a weird turn.
Yeah.
Good work. It seems like you completed your objective without any trouble. If you finish any other jobs, please come back and report again.
We won't, because we're leaving forever. Bye.
And now on to Bose.
Onwards. Right before the gate, let's save just in case we miss something. I don't think we did, but just in case.
You said safety save?
Yeah, let's just safety save here. Hello there, are you headed to Bose?
We are, but how'd you know we weren't just visiting again?
Well, a number of people like yourselves have been passing through lately. Exponentially more than usual. Is it because flights have been suspended in the airspace over Bose? That's exactly what happened. You wouldn't believe how busy this place is because of it.
Well, the Royal Army is responsible for all the restricted flights, so you're really not in a position to complain.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that. Oh, and another thing. Traffic through this checkpoint is also being regulated. If you want to go through here, you'll have to get a pass from the Chief Warrant Officer next door.
Okay.
Since joining the army, this is the first time I've ever been so busy in my life. I guess this is no time to be fishing or reading books. I just bought this book, but I guess I'll give it to you. The chief would be livid if he caught me with this. Okay, we will read that when we get chapter 1. We can get chapter 1 later. Well, if it isn't Estelle, and Joshua too.
Hello, Mr. Ashton.
And this is Sherazard, if I remember correctly, right?
Good afternoon, sir. We'd like to cross over into the Bose region, and we were wondering if about getting a pass.
Let me guess. It has something to do with Linda, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Goodness, Cassius was aboard. This is major. I'll let you pass right away.
Thank you, sir. But is it alright if you issue us a pass just like this?
What are you talking about? I know you kids by face. And as a member of the Royal Army, I should do my best to cooperate with the Bracer Guild. Oh, but one other thing.
Huh?
Be careful if you have any errands at the Haken Gate north of here. You might want to hide your identities as bracers there. What do you mean? I'm sorry, I can't say anything more about the matter. But if you do intend to investigate the incident, please do so with discretion. I pray to Idios for Cassius' safe return.
Alright, we got one.
Well, that was quick. Okay then, how about I open the gate for you? Alright, you're clear to go on through. Once you cross over, you won't be able to come back unless you get a pass from the other side. Please be aware of that before you cross.
Got it.
And let's go. Farewell, Roland. Hello, Bose. So that was actually a progression gate. We cannot go back to Roland now.
Which is pretty exciting. And as you can see, there are all kinds of weird, creepy monsters.
Oh, we'll check out Nibel Valley later.
What's headed this way?
Well, if it isn't Sherazard, how have you been?
Fine, I haven't seen you in a while either. What are you up to?
As you can see, I'm doing an escort job. I'm sure that you've heard all about the airliners being grounded after the Linda incident, right? Because of that, we have to move all this cargo to the Royal City by ground transport.
I see. Well, your efforts are appreciated.
So, how about yourself? What are you doing with these youngsters? Don't tell me you're looking into the incident.
That was the plan. Why? Do you know anything we should be aware of?
Well, I think it would be best if you spoke with Lugren about it at the Bose branch. Anyway, I gotta get going. Catch you later.
First Mr. Ashton and now him? Everyone keeps hinting at something, but no one will just come out and say it. I wonder what's up.
Well, there must be a good reason for it, and we'll probably find our answers at the Bose branch.
Agreed. If we do as he suggests and ask Lugren about it, we may just get a clue about what's going on. Anyway, let's get moving.
Well, let's keep looking at the sides of the path, just make sure we ain't missing any treasure. We probably missed some treasure, but it's fine. We'll walk these roads again. Yeah, this is one of the longer roads in the game. Oh, that's up to Hawken Gate.
This is a long road if that's up to Hawken Gate. Oh. Hello, Bose. We finally made it here. This is the commercial city of Bose, which sits at the heart of the Bose region.
Wow, this definitely looks like a city.
Of the 5 major cities in Liberal, this one comes next after the Royal City. Compared to Roland, the buildings are all made of stone and seem a lot bigger.
Does anyone have any idea what that huge building is over there?
That's the Bose Market. It's an indoor market made up of various shops. Food, clothing, sundry goods, furniture, books, and so on. You can pretty much buy everything here with the exception of weapons and ornaments.
It's not surprising that they call this place a commercial city. Man, I really wish this trip could have been for shopping.
Maybe some other time. Let's first stop by the guild and find out what's going on regarding the incident.
Alright.
Just so you know, the Bracer Guild is just right over there. But also we should go to the East Block first, right?
Why?
Because it's a short-term quest?
Oh, yeah, we can, we're on the East Block.
No, we're in the...
Well, it's the North and the South Block, but the church is right there. The church is purple on any maps.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Eh?
You're Father Holstein, right?
Indeed I am, but how may I help you?
This is for you. It's a letter from Father Divine and Roland.
Is this for me? Thank you very much for delivering this. However, a letter from Father Divine could only mean... yes, he's come up with a new formula.
Eh? A new formula for what?
Don't tell me you didn't know. Father Divine is a master of medicine, known throughout Liberal for his skills in the healing arts. In fact, he was well known for this even when he was back at Grant's Cathedral.
Really?
Even after he took up his new post as a father in Roland, he has continued his research without fail. And when he discovers an effective medicine, he shares his knowledge with the rest of us.
We Bracers also use the medicine created by Father Divine on a daily basis. So in a way, we're being supported in our work from behind the scenes.
I had no idea. It would have been nice if he had at least mentioned it to us.
But it's just like him not to, since he never talks about himself.
Ain't that the truth?
Father Divine is very strict with himself. Whenever he admonishes someone, he is always admonishing himself as well. This is one attitude I think all young children these days should learn. Although it'd be a bit difficult for me to learn at this ripe age.
Yeah, har, whatever.
Well, how about we just try to work hard without overreaching ourselves? I appreciate you coming all the way up from Roland to deliver this letter today. Adios, goddess of the firmament. Please protect these souls as you guide them in their daily lives.
And now we can head to the Roland branch.
Yeah.
Not the Roland branch, the Bose branch.
Yeah.
Oh, Sherazade. You arrived a lot sooner than I expected. I appreciate you all coming this way from Roland. Coming all the way from Roland, excuse me.
It's been a while, hasn't it, Lugran? Did someone tell you that we were coming ahead of time?
Yes, I received a call from Ina not that long ago. So that means those 2 kids with you are Cassius's children.
Yes, that's right.
It's nice to meet you, sir. I'm Estelle Bright.
And I'm Joshua Bright. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
I'm Lugren, and I oversee the Bose branch. Your father and I go way back. Please, just call me Lugren.
Sure, we'll do that. That said, could you give us a quick update on the missing airliner incident?
Yes, about that. The Royal Army is still continuing its search. However, with the Army's current restriction on information, no public updates of the situation have been made. And not only has the general public been kept in the dark, but the Guild hasn't heard a word either.
Really? Why not? Aren't the Army and Guild supposed to be cooperating together?
Well, that's the way it is on the surface anyway. But in actuality, there's a lot of opposition between both parties on a number of aspects.
So pretty much what you're saying is that it's just a bunch of jurisdictional disputes, right?
I hate to admit it, but that's the situation. In addition, General Morgan has gotten involved.
Did you just say General Morgan? Great. Now it looks like things are really going to be a pain.
General Morgan, who's that?
He's famous for repelling the Imperial Army's invasion 10 years ago. You should have read about him in the history books.
Amazingly enough, I don't recall the name. So what's the big deal with this famous guy anyway?
From what I've heard, he's not the biggest fan of the Bracer Guild. Hates bracers, in fact. It seems he even made it a point to routinely assert that there's no need for a Bracer Guild.
Sounds like a real whack job to me. So what you're saying is that we're not getting any information because of this general?
That's not really important at the moment. What really matters is that bracers are being prohibited from entering the regions they're investigating. And because of that, it's causing conflicts with our other work.
But we just came all the way here from Roland. If that's the way it's gonna be, then it's time to duel it out with this general to decide who gets to investigate the incident.
You're talking like a crazy person, Estelle.
Keep your cool, Bracer. There are other ways. Such as the request we just received from the mayor concerning the incident. She has asked that we conduct an investigation from the guild side, separate from the army.
Well, that's encouraging news. If it's an official request from the mayor, it'll be a great pretext for us to conduct our own investigation.
I see. Well, isn't this perfect timing? Lugren will accept the mayor's request.
That sounds fine by me. But before you go, you two are junior bracers, right?
Yeah, why?
Junior bracers, so to speak, are members in training registered at various branches. In short, their performance is monitored by the branch where they're currently registered. And right now for you two, that would be Roland.
So what you're trying to say is that...
We have to change our registration if we want to accept jobs here, right?
You got it. Here, all you need to do is sign in these forms to transfer your registration.
Sure.
Our names go here, and...
Alright, it looks like everything is in order. Junior bracers, Estelle and Joshua. As of this day, at 15:20, your registration at the Bose branch has been approved. That means that you are now members of the Bose branch.
So you know once you become a senior bracer, you can do any job without being registered to a particular branch. But on the flip side, your duties and responsibilities increase as well.
Understood.
So pretty much we're still newbies?
Well, it looks like now we'll be able to entrust you with the mayor's request. The mayor's residence is near the west gate. You should go there and talk to her directly.
We'll do that.
Understood. Except we might not, because we'll probably poke at the side quests.
Revenue monster. Ingredients.
Tender poultry.
And East Bose monster. But they're all long term, so that's not too bad.
How are we on tender poultry? Do you have any?
I doubt it. Especially because we haven't been grinding.
Yeah. I think we could...
Oh, we have 3.
Okay, so we only need 2 more. We can...
Do you remember that quest perfectly?
Well, it said we need 5, right? We just read it a second ago.
I didn't read it.
Yeah.
Man, we should have remembered that quest existed and gotten the rest of it while we were enrolling.
It'd be fine. Do you want to go and buy Cornelia and read Cornelia's to finish out the episode? Since I'm reading the news, do you want to do Cornelia?
Sure. Should I talk to Dorothy?
Yeah. I say whenever we run into like a character we know.
Dorothy, is that you?
Wow! Look at all the stuff they're selling here. I'm getting a kink in my neck just turning my head to try and take all of it in.
She's so into her surroundings. Looks like she can't even hear you. The bookshop is...
I know.
Yeah. little steep, but we can get it.
Carnelia, Chapter 1. The Imperial Chronicle. I stood there, upright in front of the revolving door, scuffing the heels of my boots against the ground. Pulling slightly on the collar of my trench coat, I dropped my chin and gazed at my partial reflection in the curved glass. Aside from my short-cropped hair, I wore a modest-looking, double-breasted leather raincoat and a pair of special-order steel-reinforced boots, both of which at first glance appear to be the most common of common apparel. Yet they were, in fact, much more than the naked eye could detect. My ordinary, average appearance, it was of just as much importance today as it had been on any other day in times past. Not far off, the sound of footfalls echoed rhythmically like the steady beat of a pendulum swinging back and forth, as the throngs of those coming and going moved quickly along the cobblestone avenue, enveloped and tinged silver by the morning mist. At times, the calling voice of a street peddler disrupted the steady flow, but as soon as the hawking cry faded away, it would resume its course. Each morning that I found myself setting foot in the Imperial City, I also found my surroundings to be unchanged and stained by the same somber tone of gray. Snatching up a magazine from the underarm of a street vendor, I tossed a few mirror onto the left hand poised expectantly behind his back. The Imperial Chronicle, the magazine I read so often that even the ink bleeds were familiar. Roughly flipping open its cover, I scanned the headlines along the top of its monochrome pages. Then suddenly, my breath caught in my throat. At the very bottom of the local news page, I found those letters, that sequence of characters which I had not heard nor seen since the time of my life-changing incident. My eyes instantly gravitated to the spot, and for a time remained fixed. Ein Selnet. The very meaning of those letters became lost to my senses as I stood motionless, my gaze fixed on the same line of text until it all seemed to coalesce into a single blotch of ink. After a few seconds of blank comprehension, my vision settled and I wrenched my eyes to the beginning of the article. As I began to read, my memories verged on a single point in my past, and then slowly started to run in reverse, heading for that fateful event 3 years prior when this name was first introduced to me. I was on an afternoon all those years ago. On a day not unlike this one, where the capital was overshadowed by its typical gloomy aura. I was a little younger than now, a 22-year-old boy who stood silently in front of the boutique door as usual, double-checking his appearance before lightly treading over to Micht's Imperial Factory. It was on this day that it had been arranged for me to receive a new job from Micht, the shop owner himself. Although he was a drab, middle-aged man, I, being the orbman enthusiast I was, had found myself as one of his few regular customers. I headed down a dank alleyway, and after passing through a partially rotted wooden gate, I could see the soft glow of the flickering orbital light just outside of the entrance of the factory, whose structure was halfway below street level. I first began receiving jobs from Micht around the time when the dissension began to occur in the society over the 100 Days' War. It was during this period that relations between the Liberal Kingdom and the Empire were at their worst, and the importation of orbments had become almost non-existent. Conspiring with underground elements and planning a smuggling operation, Micht made me out to be his accomplice in crime, for the job which I received by his hand was none other than that of a courier. Being nothing more than a commoner in my teens at the time, I met him in a juvie devoid of any connections in life besides. I naturally jumped at the opportunity without a moment's hesitation. Yet, even after relations with Liberal had returned to some degree of normalcy, I realized that I was in no mood to give up my specialty, which focused mainly on the delivery of stolen goods. The reason being, there was no job out there which could bring in the kind of mira this one did. With an unrefined and inconspicuous appearance, I had countless times before hidden items of various sorts in my hat and trousers and made my way hither and thither between the borders of these neighboring nations. And though to my delight my wallet had become increasingly laden with the bounty of monetary rewards, I had routinely changed my alias as a precautionary measure, so much in fact that these false names had built into quite a list over the last few years. I had been known as Phil the Frivolous, Rooney the Trickster, and even Chris the Coward. However, Micht had always called me by one name, Toby. This was the identity I had used for my initial job, and the one I liked above all others. Chapter 2. The Train Station. "Hello there, Toby, you've come at just the right time." Greeting me with these words, Micht shuffled slightly in his seat behind the counter. The baked confection he had been eating was ever so carefully placed atop his lap to prevent it from falling onto the floor. He smacked both of his powdered sugar-covered hands together with a clap, and a cloud of white particles puffed into the air. The smell of sweet spices and baked apple pervaded the dimly lit shop. "We had an item dropped off more than a few minutes ago," he continued. Turning in his seat, Mick reached behind and snatched up something wrapped in old magazine paper from off the shelf. Tossing it to me, knowing full well I wouldn't get any sort of answer, I asked anyway, "What do we have this time?" Laying out my railway and airship tickets, Mick ignored my question and said, "Make sure this gets to the same place as always." In his slow drawl, he added, "It would be in your best interest to keep your involvement to a minimum by leaving the business side of things to me and focusing solely on getting the job done, Toby." He leaned back in his chair and let out a deep sigh, the balls of his fingers kneading at the bags under his eyes. Then, once again, his large hand extended down toward the unattended cake resting on his leg. Before the sweet treat could reach his watering mouth, I had already made my way out the door of his tiny shop. As I walked, the wastepaper bundled package bounced around inside the folds of my bag. By the feel of its shape and weight as it beat against my side, I concluded that the object in my possession was probably just more swag. It didn't make me nervous not to know what it was that I was carrying, for I had done this type of job many times before. And no matter what kind of trouble I found myself wrapped up in, I had always somehow managed to come out unscathed. In truth, my experience on the job had made me tough, and I had become well versed in the art of orbal magic. So it was that when I laid eyes on the rough-looking trio in the station, I felt no more knots of uneasiness in the pit of my stomach than was necessary for someone of my abilities. The platform for the train bound for Liberal was abustle with passengers awaiting its eventual arrival. Seeing that the benches were so crammed full of people that they could have very well been a tin packed sardines, I resigned myself to standing near the entrance as I patiently waited for the train to come in. Twisting my body in order to move the bag to my other shoulder, I noticed the figures of two men. Heads bent together and conversing in an inaudible tone, they stood just beyond the ticket gate, right about where the horse head of the imperial emblem lay embedded in the ground in a grand mosaic of tiles. After a short interim, another man approached and joined the conversation. From my own perspective, this was one ragtag group I certainly couldn't give a passing grade based on looks. All three were extremely well built and sported the same haircut. To put it mildly, they stuck out in the crowd like a bunch of sore thumbs. Making sure to avoid direct eye contact with them as they glanced in my direction, I slung my bag back onto my shoulder, and ever so calmly reached my hand into my pocket and ran the tips of my fingers across the surface of my orbment. A woman's voice reverberated within the walls of the station, notifying the passengers that the train had arrived. The low rumble of an orbital engine could be felt in the distance, and after a few moments, a large vehicle was seen rolling up on the shoulder. I muttered to myself, "All is well," but the sound of my voice was drowned out by the din of a massive machine. Brakes screeched, and a flash of black light reflected off the surface of the giant iron beast as it came sliding in across the rails. The immense vibration in the air, emanating from the moving locomotive at its epicenter, let me know that the orbital engine had been put into full reverse in order to decelerate and bring the train to a grinding halt. While being shoved to and fro by the waves of impatient travelers flooding out of the waiting area, I was swept toward one door of a passenger car. As we passed by the conductor, I caught another glimpse of the ticket gate. The men who were once there were now gone, and the only thing that remained was the profile of the horse made of glossy tiles, glaring back at me in a deep shade of crimson.
And that is chapters 1 and 2 of Carnelia.
And that's where we'll call it.
Alright.
This is Hell Alone signing off.